can't get fooled again.
Arf. Hounds of heaven. Jesus loves you and is there for you. Welcome back into the David L. Gray Show, off code and unscripted. You know, when I think of the name Governor Gavin Newsom, whenever I think of the name of Satan, it's like synonymous to me. Like here, Gavin Newsom, Satan, it's like the same word to me. He, of all the people, you know, in the world that we hear of constantly, people like Justin Trudeau and others, you know, Gavin Newsom is one of those ones that I really can't distinguish his name from. He seems to be someone to me like he is someone who is either like, because of all his attacks on life in the womb, his advocating of unnatural marriage. Um, he seems to be someone to me. He's either Satan incarnate himself, or someone who's like just trying to steal Satan's job. Like he's just like campaigning to take Satan's jobs away. He's going to sign this year, Governor Gavin Newsom in California. He's going to sign about 24 bills to advance child murder in the womb. So we're going to talk to my friend Deacon Christopher Major about that. He's a deacon out of the Archdiocese of San Francisco. And we're going to talk to him about that, about what's going on in California with Proposition 1 and what Gavin Newsom is doing, I don't know, is he trying to run for president, campaigning on child murder? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the deacon. He is evangelizing the world through chess. He has a wonderful ministry he does, reaching people, evangelizing children through chess. I think it's fascinating. So we're going to talk about that and more. This is the David L. Gray Show, off coded and unscripted. Hey, if you are a member of my Patreon team, make sure that you do check your emails. I just sent you an email this morning talking about how we're shutting down that program, but I sent you a code to go to St. Dominic's Media to become a lifetime member, because I'll be uploading my courses there now. So check your email, check your spam to make sure that you did receive it. And I'd like to give a shout out to all the sponsors of the show on Patreon and those who purchase memberships through YouTube, all those of you who keep me in your prayers and share the content, your likes, your shares, your subs. Please like this show now if you're watching now. And I look forward to reading some of your comments after the show and during the show. I make sure I get to them. If you have a question for the deacon, make sure you post it. We'll get to that as well. I see some people coming in now. We got my friend Brianna. She's in Orlando this morning. Wow, that's warm. I got M here, or MM. She agrees that Gavin Newsom equals Satan, right? He's a tyrant, right? I don't know who's worse, Trudeau or Gavin Newsom, right? They're like twin brothers of Satan. All right, let's get into the show. I'm about to bring Deacon Christopher Major in now, right after I zip it.
You're great. Wow.
How's it going? How's it going, Deacon?
It is going great. I am very, very, very happy that, I assumed this role of coordinator of Parish School of Religion, or they call it director of religious education. And I did not have a clue of what this meant or what I was to do. I mean, it's the people, but it's the pastor said to me, I have a job for you, Chris, and it's very important to me. And I think you're going to be perfect for it. And so what do? You've just been ordained and the pastor calls you. Little did I know I'd be coordinating with 7 or 8 teachers, hundreds of kids, opening the parish from 8 to 12:30. But it's been a magnificent visual for me as a man in the faith to see parents and children within the community catechizing their children. Yeah. To work in that environment, to see people stepping up. Hey, we don't have a 4th grade catechist yet. And we were all shut down during COVID. Yeah. So a parent stepped up. I was a catechist 10 years ago. And you see that shoot, that remnant, and now that I'm breaking open the Bible. I'm really involved with your work
Yeah.
in terms of the liturgy being something that opens our heart. It is the liturgy.
Yeah.
It's not Gavin Newsom. It's not killing your baby that gives you that beauty and that love in your heart. It's that direction that God gives us to say, hey, we are all supposed to be loving each other and supporting each other when we are going through difficulties. And when a woman is pregnant and she's got no support, I cannot understand by any stretch or perceive a more difficult situation for anyone to be carrying a life inside of them, not knowing how they're going to manage that life, much less deal with the changes that's going to happen in their own personal life. And the worst thing we do in the faith is tell somebody, throw them away, forget about it, get rid of the problem. This man has been doing this since I was a child. I am 61 years old next month. He has been in our state for 40 years, 30 years, governor, mayor, position after position. It's kind of like they handpick these guys who can be Satan, because Satan is the master of deception. This guy will get on TV now in this commercial, and there are more and more people talking about it. I think sometimes when Satan is in the dark, it's difficult for us to perceive the decisions we should be making. But when he comes into the light, like on a commercial, like he's running and equating women's freedom, you are a free woman, and I support you in your freedom if you have the ability to kill your child after it's born.
Yeah. Let's play a clip here. I don't have that actual. I don't think I have the actual video. I couldn't find it. But I do have one here. I want to play a clip, and let's bring it in for the audience to watch, and I want to have you comment on it here.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And Governor Newsom doubling down on his promise to protect the right to get an abortion in California. And now the hot button issue is front and center in his latest campaign ad.
CBS 13's Adrian Moore is here with his fiery comments outside a Planned Parenthood meeting today. Adrian.
Yeah, Tony and Elizabeth, the governor trying to capitalize on the high court's draft decision, calling abortion rights a defining issue of his re-election campaign. He says now is the time for Californians to wake up and fight.
Like, where the hell's my party? Where's the Democratic Party?
A heated Governor Newsom not holding back, blasting the leaked Supreme Court draft, suggesting justices would overturn Roe v. Wade.
If the right to privacy is not foundational, they're coming after you.
The governor making a passionate plea for Californians to get on the offensive.
This Supreme Court is poised to roll back constitutionally protected rights. And don't think for a second, this is where they stop. You think for a second same-sex marriage is safe in the United States of America? Give me a break.
Who can California women count on to defend our rights?
The issue, now the focus of a quickly churned out campaign ad where Newsom touts his endorsement by Planned Parenthood and takes aim at his opponent in the governor's race, Republican Senator Brian Daly.
Daly wants to roll back abortion rights, punishing women and doctors. It's why California women and Planned Parenthood support Gavin Newsom, a lifelong defender of the right to choose.
Senator Daly says his voting record speaks for itself and calls Newsom's political punch, quote, an opportunity to distract from his own failed policies, saying the governor must be afraid, and he should be. Meantime, Newsom continues to promote an amendment that would preserve the right to an abortion in California's Constitution.
And we're not going to roll over. We will not back down.
Now, in order to make that constitutional amendment a reality, it would need to get two-thirds support from both state legislative branches, and then it would go before California voters for final approval. Newsom says he's hoping to make all that happen by this November.
And Deacon, I suppose that did happen because now California now has this Proposition 1 that's on the ballot, and so what is Proposition 1? What would it do?
It's
because
the worst.
And I asked that because abortion has been California's like one of the first states that had legalized abortion all the way back to 1969. So what changes in California with Proposition 1?
First of all, California has some of the most permissive laws on abortion in the nation. We allow late-term abortions. Prop 1 will not do anything other than allow us to kill your baby after it's born. It does not do anything to destroy or change abortion laws in California. It is the worst case scenario. And as a matter of fact, David, I went to my Kaiser, because this is the time we get our Kaiser renewal for our health plan. So I went through the list. My premium went up $129. And I compared it to 2022. The only difference in there is that abortion is now available with no charge for any reason. We've already paid for it in California with hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, we don't have any understanding of the limit. Now, here's where I am, and I believe all men are forgiving, can be forgiven if we come to God. But the idea that you are promoting the killing of children under the guise of freedom, you heard that. We're coming, same-sex marriage. None of that is true in California. No one in California cares. And as a matter of fact, statistically, even the pro-lifers make this a 5% issue. The pro-choicers are 5% on abortion. Abortion is a 5% issue on either side. So then why is it in the mainstream? Because you have people out there donating to pay for it. It's a massive fundraiser for the governor. So when he's talking about same-sex marriage, he's talking about abortion, he's talking about money, Skrilla, scratch, dollars. And this guy is all about his money. We have people who are poor who can't put gas in their car. This guy shut down the whole state while he partied it up, and a third of our African-American students and our poor students never logged on to Zoom. We have a whole generation of 4th and 5th and 6th graders over the next 2 to 3 years that will be subjected to the system because they don't read or they don't write. But he's not talking about that anymore. He's talking about money, and he's only doing what he needs to do because the bean counters talk to him. You can get votes for this, you can get votes for that, but you have to scare this side. It's about fear. You heard him. You just heard that. Fear, fear, fear. They're coming. They're coming. No one's coming. No one's coming. Look, and you know what the thing about it is? We have abortion.
He made it sound like he's like Benedict Arnold. Like the British are coming. The British are coming.
They're coming. They're coming over the hills.
Republicans are coming.
Those old white men are coming to kill your babies. No, you are killing our babies.
Yeah.
Think about that. Here's a man saying that other people are taking your rights away while he's taking the rights away of children that we know by science. We know by science they're not a bundle of twigs or whatever they used to call them. They're just cells in your womb, but they're not really human. We know after 4 to 6 weeks, they're developing a consciousness. We know they're developing limbs and arms and their smile. We know that that's a human being in your body. And and let's put it this way, David, this guy could get on TV with his smooth and his charisma and all the people who vote.
Oh yeah, he looks good. His hair's together. He dresses really nice in his Armani suits or whatever. He always looks good, right?
That's why what you're saying about Satan, that's how he comes.
Yeah.
He comes looking pretty. He comes smiling to you. He comes telling you that, you know what? All these men out there want to take your rights away. And I, good-looking Gavin Newsom, will keep you and support you and help you. But you know what? Does he talk about after the abortion? This is why the disingenuousness of what he's saying. There's a human reality here of taking a life. There's no woman out there I can imagine that can walk into an abortion center and take that life out. And over the next 6 to 8 weeks, 12 weeks, a couple months, and see babies and not have some psychological reality. Or we know this. This is what the Catholic Church is about. We are here to say that if you do have an abortion, if you do go through this difficult time, we're here to support you through it. We just don't want to get rid of it and then leave you out there in the world scattered and broken. And we know abortion in the community, there's a father involved, there's families involved, there's grandmothers involved, there's aunts and uncles who rally around pregnancy and children. Yeah. This is what it is. And we know as in the Black community, I've traveled to Africa now 7 or 8 times. We know what this is, an undercurrent of racism. You're
Mhm.
trying to get rid of the strong, and you aren't going to get rid of the strong in this world. People
And
are
he's
telling
Deacon, and Deacon Christopher, and I know you talked about, I mean, you've been in California all your life. I mean, you know these issues better than a lot of us. But when we see Gavin Newsom, when he wants to spread his wings outside of California, we see campaign ads, and I bring him up on the screen here. We see this guy campaigning outside of the state of California with these campaign ads. I mean, just take a look
wow.
at a couple of them here. He's campaigning in Texas as a governor of California. He's here campaigning in Texas, saying Texas doesn't own your body, you do. Learn more about abortion at abortion.ca. He's
Wow.
using taxpayer dollars in California to advocate to infringe upon separation of the autonomous nature that states are supposed to have from one another, to go into other states and tell their people in Indiana does not care about, does not own your body, you do. And this one is really sick.
Gee,
He
I've
said,
never
you need
seen
an
anything like
abortion?
this.
California is ready to help. Then he uses a scripture, Deacon, down at the bottom. It says, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no greater commandment than these. Who else would use scripture, pervert scripture in this way to advocate for evil other than Satan himself?
Wow, see, in California, we don't see this, right? That's why you're so valuable to us in the community and the world, about sharing different cultures in different states. And that, I am almost speechless, but I can say this about, we don't own your body. They don't own, so what he's really saying is, Indiana doesn't own your body. I do.
Mm, mm.
I own your body. Let me tell you what you need to do with it. Because he's not saying California has opportunity and support and funding to help you through your pregnancy. We have counseling to help you through this difficult situation. He's saying don't even discern. That's part of what our chess program is about: reason and intellect and will, and the decisions we all make before the pregnancy. I mean, who owned this person's body before she got pregnant? She owned her body then. She owns her body. And whatever you do with your body, you should deal with the consequences of that. But he's trying to say you don't have to, because your body doesn't matter. And that's totally away from what we learn in terms of our scripture, that every person has dignity. Everybody's created with dignity. He's taking the dignity away from, not only from the mother, that's the devil of Satan. He's not only taking the dignity away from the mother, he's taking it from the child too. We know that from the child and the mother. I own your baby and I own your body, and we can get rid of it together. How is that leadership to me? I don't see that as leadership. I don't see, it's one thing to say this is if you choose to do this. But I'm saying, if you're a man of God and you're a man of faith and you're a man of love and compassion, and you care about the smallest and the little things, and you can't get any more little of the things than a baby in the womb at conception. If you truly care about that, I'm going to be there to help you through it. I'm not going to give you a way out of it, because that life matters. See, and then you can spin it all. My life matters. Your life matters. That baby's life matters, right?
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter will get on TV and say, oh, my life, Black Lives Matter. But the baby's life doesn't matter. And it is an infant. We know the science. And everybody wants to choose the science on COVID. And this man shut everyone down.
Yeah.
Took the opportunity to shut it down because it gave him more opportunity to marginalize. If they take you here and dummy you down, that's what Gavin Newsom loves it. He doesn't want you to be free, to love, to be married, to have a wholesome family. He's in there disrupting all of that. And I don't care what anybody says. Abortion is a difficult. I stood out there at Walnut Creek my first time, and I almost started swinging on people, man. They were across the street from us, yelling at us. This is before I was ordained, so I can't be swinging on people anymore unless they come at me. But the fact of the matter was, you see guys dropping women off who are in the sex trade. That's the thing that got me, David.
Yeah.
The women, there's a lot of women have this idea that, I'm 40 years old and I got pregnant, I had 3 kids and I can't keep this one. We're old. That's not happening. Oh, it's, my health is that's not really reality in terms of the percentages. What's happening is sex workers are coming there on Fridays getting abortions from prostitution, from dancing on the pole, from whatever. So we have a whole moral. See, so if you were really a leader in my eyes, what are the aspects that lead up to abortion, or what are some of the things that are creating this situation in our society that are immoral, that have no virtue? But he calls that, see, the devil calls immorality freedom. To be immoral is your freedom. That's not what God says. He does not want you to be immoral. He wants you to come to him and know that I'm always in love with you. But once you start down that immoral road with the Gavin Newsom types, that Justin Trudeau type, they're like, yes, now you're mine. Now you don't have any choice. Now your body really isn't your body because you are in such a bad situation. You can't make a good, decent decision.
And that's what I think they're doing. They're really just preaching just a gospel of death on every level, just physical, spiritual, emotional, just a gospel of death. And I like you. I remember when I was in Columbus, I think it was Founders Abortion Clinic. I was there one day. And here comes a guy, in the white van, drops off a lady. She goes in, and he yells at me out of his van. He said, "Why don't you just leave these women alone?" And I, me, my blood was running kind of high, and I was like, "Well, why don't you just stop dropping off women to kill their babies?" Exactly. And so I seen him, Deacon. He gave, like, you've been in situations, you've been in fights, you know how it is. The guy gave me that look. He looked this way, looked that way to see who was around, and he saw a cop across the street. I didn't see the cop across the street, but I'm thinking in my head, he's a big dude too. He's about to get out the van, and I'm thinking, okay, I gotta go for his knees. I gotta take out his knees. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking all these scenarios. But he saw the cop across the street, so nothing happened. But these it's a bunch of pimps out here dropping off women as well. But you're a deacon. You've been a deacon since earlier this year. How's it going? I want to ask you, how's it going for you, and how liberating is it for you to speak like this, knowing that you have Archbishop Court Leone, who's not going to cancel you? How does that feel?
It feels magnificent. Before ordination, it was tough because you see people that are around him that aren't, let's just say, politically correct, that aren't speaking as vociferously the way he speaks about these issues. Nancy Pelosi, Biden and Eucharist, and abortion. So it's valuable to me now that I know who I am and what I'm about. Because before you get into holy orders, you are part of this political, well, am I wrong or am I right? I got to stay with my brothers and sisters over here, but I'm a man of value and morality, so I don't want to be this guy. So you don't really know or don't understand where God is pushing you. And once the Archbishop put his hands on me, and you feel that tremendous feeling of responsibility. So my deacon walk now, I open the church every morning. I give reflections Saturdays. Our priests right now, we have one priest in our parish. We have one retired and one our pastor. Our active priest is now back in Tanzania on vacation, so I'm stepping up. So it's kind of like, I love that smile for you too, because that's where I connect with you, that ability. And I love you for what you do, man. You're bright, articulate, and you're out there pushing it. And that inspires people like me to continue to walk. So when I came on your show the first time, I was in a firestorm, man. They throw me in there, African-American coordinator, the George Floyd situation. I'm doing racial reconciliation and justice meetings with the Archbishop. I'm trying to get ordained. I got people around me I don't think that really, they're telling me you're doing a good job, but they're like, maybe you're doing too good a job. You know how that is. You're starting to rise. And people are like, oh, boy, this brother's rising too much. So they try to cut your wings a little bit. And I feel that. And I don't think that's just hyperbole, but I go right by them all. So I love the Archbishop. I love his courage. And you know what? I challenged him too, David. I met with him. I did. I said to him, I said, when am I going to see you sitting down playing chess and kids? And he's a serious cat. Archbishop serious, and he kind of went, he kind of gave me that. I go, uh-oh. You know, this is my final meeting before ordination with the Archbishop.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting with him and I'm like, hey, man, when am I going to see you sitting down with some kids playing chess? And because he supported the program, he loves the program, and he pushed the program. But I know the program will only be super and take off when I see that Archbishop with a group of kids around him.
Oh, yeah.
So I posted, so he was in some schools, and I posted on my social media page, let the children come to me. And he's in a, and man, I tell you, you can see the Archbishop thundering away at Pelosi, Biden, and all these issues, Newsom and all these other fools. But when he's sitting with a child in a classroom, because I'd never seen this image, I was just running my mouth, right? Saying this would be good marketing to get you at a chessboard, continue to program. But he's in joy. You truly see Christ. You see a real apostle telling the disciples, you fools, get away. Let these children come to me. Yeah. And that's what I put. Let the children come to me. And he's in a classroom, sitting in a chair, no chessboard, but he's sitting in front of the classroom. And the kids got their hands all up.
Yeah. I think you posted that picture. I think I saw that picture.
There were several by the Archdiocese that they took of him. And I say, you know, I pilfer it all because if I think it's good visual, it's because what we're trying to do as humans is show ourselves different than what people categorize. Newsom's not trying to show himself different. He's trying to be slick and cool, and I care about you. And I think more and more people are saying, because when he asked that question, that was a great clip. Where is the Democratic Party? They're silent. But that's not good enough. They know in their heart that he's wrong. They know that killing a child is wrong. They know emotionally and spiritually it takes away from who they are as people, the ones who support him. But they've got to get beyond that, past of voting for him for 40 years, and move toward God. That's where this country is going. There's nowhere else to go. We've ripped blacks and whites, Mexicans, Asians, gays, transgender, abortion, science, COVID. It's like they're grasping at anything they can get.
Anything that can get to just destroy the family. Like Sister Lucia said, you know, the last battle would be for the family. And that's definitely something we see in California. I was wondering, though, if next time you see the Archbishop and you challenge him to a chess match, can you say, hey, if I win, you excommunicate Nancy Pelosi? Can you do that?
We would like to see Nancy Pelosi. You know, that's what I love to do. I'd love to see Nancy, Joe, and Newsom with some of those 4th and 5th graders I got and just get torched on a chessboard and have them talking to them. Why would you do something like that? That's dumb. I would take this, this, and this. So that's what I love about this game of chess is that I can sit down and I can run my mouth with you 40, 50 minutes. We're smart guys, educated. We got a lot of passion about what we do. We energize people. But when I sit down with a kid in 5th grade and he's talking to me, man, Mr. Majors, why would you move that knife? They're working you. And in that moment, that very brief moment of a child, he might be reading, brother, 5th grader in Alabama right now, barely reading at 1st grade level. You could put him on a chessboard in Arkansas with my friend Georgia Morris, and she's dynamic. And I'll tell you, she'd be a great guest. Georgia Morris, she runs that Mosaic Chess People, critical thinking for children under the Mosaic Church. But these kids, when you put them on a chessboard, they realize just because I can't read doesn't mean that I won't be able to read. See, the difference then, if I can't read, I'll never be able to read. It's man, that dejection, whether it's reading the menu or this prop 1 or whatever this thing is that talks about if you can't read, how are you going to know what's going on? So that glimpse, and that's when I get them. And you wait for that one moment. Say, see that, young man? You can learn. But it takes time. And it takes time. We learn chess over 6 weeks. 1 piece a week for 6 weeks. I just finished the 6 weeks yesterday with my 1st and 2nd grade. And I was little, oh man, do I really want to deal with these little kids? Yeah. But I had 8 of them.
Was this at Saint Isabella or was that at a church? I mean, that's
It was at McKinley as a public school, McKinley Elementary
Mhm.
School in
Yeah.
Petaluma. And I tell you, that was a big goal. You know, you talk about chess. My program, David, and thank you. My program is no longer an after-school program. I do it because I got to make some money. I got to support Africa. But my program is going and taking a whole grade, 6th, 5th, and 4th.
Okay.
So what we did in Petaluma is we took half the kids. You take half the kids as the teacher. 45 minutes, we switch. 90-minute program over 6 weeks. 6th, 5th, and 4th grade. We taught the whole school. So we're really about making chess playing schools. We want, because the teachers won't learn it. I've done it too long now.
Mhm.
They're Gavin Newsom. Their egos won't allow them to be humble. And just because you're teaching a kid beats you 5 out of 6 times in chess and you can't touch him, doesn't mean he's not going to want to learn math, English, and science. The fact that
So
you're really
teaching children how to operate, how to move the pieces on the chessboard, you're saying that it instills confidence in children who may be suffering from some sort of disappointment or other issues or in areas in their life. So, but also it's a way to break down communication barriers and have conversations. It's like it's like sitting down at the table to eat.
with parents working, and that was the thing, that 3 to 6 piece, David. 3 to 6 is where kids are most vulnerable because they're not
Okay.
doing their homework and they're getting in trouble. So by the time you get into 3rd grade, if you are not reading at grade level, generally speaking, you're not going to improve your reading for 1 or 2 grades all the way up to high school. And so as the work gets harder,
Mhm.
it gets more difficult. Kids lose self-esteem. We want to keep them, just like in our faith, in the game long enough until we transform ourselves. So the child is learning the structure of learning. It takes time. Independent learning, frustration learning, instructional learning. Independent, instructional, frustration. 3 ways we learn: independent, instructional, frustration. Most of our children in the inner cities are in frustration by 6th grade. If we can get them on a chessboard, piece by piece, week by week, building their will and their reason and their intellect to want to achieve, because each week they're coming back going, I'm learning something. And you have the 15 or 25% that take off.
Yeah, but it's like chess though. I mean, one thing I love about chess is that I wish, like I said, I wish every school would do what you're doing. I wish you can get into every school, but because one thing it teaches that the world doesn't teach today, which again goes back to the abortion issue, is that critical thinking, consequences.
Yeah.
Nothing teaches critical thinking and consequences of your actions than chess. Because if you're not thinking, if you make one wrong move, it can cost you the whole game. So to get better in chess, you just have to learn how to think critically. You have to question yourself. You have to get into what the other person is doing, their actions. It's really the best life lesson, I think, to teach critical thinking and to teach that your actions have consequences. So when we look at abortion, we have people like Gavin Newsom evangelizing that no, you really don't have to think about this. You can just be stupid and think, oh, my body, my choice, without even thinking biologically about this, how stupid that is, thinking a child is a part of your own human anatomy. Or Gavin Newsom is evangelizing that no, you don't have to take responsibility for your actions. There's no consequences to you having sex outside of marriage. There's no consequences. Just kill the child. Let them suffer consequences. That's the opposite of chess.
And I'll tell you this, that when the children that we talk to who have basically dealing with the consequences their parents have made, whether it's alcohol, drinking, whatever, several multiple partners, divorce, it's a great opportunity not to run from those issues, but to talk about them, like you said. And then the reality is you can sit down with a child and speak intelligently about the decisions and choices they make. But for me, the idea of what you said, you learn about what you're doing, but in chess, you better be watching what the other person is doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So it's not just and I learned that from when I started playing chess. Your own natural personality will come out in the game.
Right, because you could be, if you're a selfish person and you're not paying attention to what the other person is doing, you're gonna get slaughtered. You can get slaughtered maybe like 3 moves. You're just thinking about yourself.
Or if that person that says, I just want to sit here, like young ladies, I love seeing, here's the self-esteem piece, the queen, most powerful. See, to the young lady down in 4th or 5th grade, and you say, you're the most, see, this is the piece about the body. You're the most valuable piece on the board. You're worth 9 points. You can go vertical, horizontal, diagonal. You do not lose your queen. She is the most precious thing on this board.
Yeah.
You don't get her out there dancing at night and have somebody else take her. Keep her home and you protect her, because we want it just like you. You're the queen of the board. And you see young ladies, they light up. Yeah, I'm the queen.
Because nobody told them. Some of them, they never been told they were a queen.
And guess what? Nobody ever told them they're the most valuable thing on the board. You are the most valuable thing in this board. The pawns, there's 8 of them. You got 2 knights, you got 2 rooks, you got 2 bishops. You only got 1 queen, and she's more powerful than any of the other pieces. And she looked at that queen, and that's who you are. You're a queen.
Wow.
And so there's nothing wrong with evangelizing in a chess game, a chessboard, talking, because kids will come to you with their sadness. See, and this is not new. Playing games is a way that a lot of therapists get kids to speak. You know, you see all these murder shows, to be able to have a kid. When I'm a special ed teacher, so my discipline from University of San Francisco is I'm a special ed teacher, master teacher, K through whatever, prisons anywhere. And that prison ministry was one of the best ministries. You ever sit in a room with an 8x8 room with 6 young men who are 5'9", 200 pounds? Big, thick brothers, young kids, 16. And I'm sitting there going, and David, you know me, I'm like us, we're thinking, I'm on, boy, if something jumped off in here, could I get to that door? I'm sitting in the middle, the door's over here.
Yeah.
3 brothers in front of me.
You always got to know where the exit is at. You always got to know.
And I'm walking in here, and they got the window, and they're looking at me in the window. I said, that window ain't gonna do me no good. These brothers take me down. I'm a hostage. These crazy stuff. But after about 5 or 6 weeks, Saturdays, they're looking for me.
Yeah,
they're looking for me. And then I got stolen by another wing one day, and they got all mad. Well, because the girls' wing wanted some chess, but chess in juvenile detention is a must, because David, it's $8 a chessboard. I could put 20 chessboards in a campus for $200. And you put a chess teacher in there for $100 a week. You change the dynamics of the school. But the idea would not be to have a perpetual program. That's why I say I don't want that. I want to teach the 6th graders and then let them minister to the 2nd and 3rd graders the next year. So now you have but a campus. And here's the thing about it. Over 40 years, there's never been one school district in America that was underperforming that has turned around. Not one.
So you remember, you're a little bit older than me, so I know you remember a movie called Eastside, I think Eastside High with Joe Clark. Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
So you said so that really doesn't happen. You don't have these Joe Clarks coming around, turning around these schools.
No, not one. There's not one underperforming school in 40 years, Gavin Newsom, Democratic Party, all you talking about education and feeding the system as a political action committee. Education in California is a political action committee. You're just finding the same people in the same classrooms getting the same results. And what I'm saying to them is, hey, make chess a mandatory curriculum that each child has to take a quarter, 6 weeks, in 6th grade and 6 weeks in 3rd grade. I think it's a mandatory when they get to that level where they start to transform on that physiological level from 6th to 7th, from 8th to 9th. And I think that 6th to 9th grade, 10th grade level is where we lose them. They're beautiful little children. They're all beautiful at Saint Isabella. Then I go to Marin Catholic last week, and they're huddled in I'm looking for volunteers for service hours. And they're over on the corner of my sign, like my sign, head up here, my sign. And they're hiding behind the sign.
Oh, my
8th,
goodness.
9th grade. I'm like, and I'm talking to all these kids, and I move to the right, David. I look to the right. Hey, you're Saint Isabella's.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
know you. Wouldn't say a word to me when I was on the campus walking by, but all of a sudden now they're in a new environment. They
Yeah.
went from 8th grade to 9th grade. You got kids, beautiful children. 8th
Yeah.
grade to 9th. That transitional years is where chess, critical thinking, decision making, reason, and it can't be taught in a book. You have to
Right.
sit down.
Hey, you got to sit down and do the work. And I tell you what, I mean, if you have more kids learning how to think critically, you'll have less kids thinking that they're the opposite gender.
And
Brett,
guess what? Let me say this. Let me add that real quickly.
yeah,
You'd also, and I just thought about this, you'd also have less kids thinking they were better than other kids because they're bigger or stronger.
yeah, it is the equalizer.
It's an equalizer, bro. You put a little girl down in front of a bunch of bad little boys who just looking at them because they're looking at their things. 7th grade, things start to pop. Boop, boop, right?
Yeah.
7th, 8th grade. And what little boys? I'm real about this. Man, new girl coming to school, right? Wow, she's looking hot. No, she's been in the school for 5 years. You're just noticing her now because she's starting to develop. But we have to let the boys, and this is what we talk about. How do I take away those passions, which is one of the greatest trainings I had from Dr. Frola at St. Patrick's Seminary. That taught me more about me and the passions, that it's the passions that come out first. The reason and the intellect is second. So how do we develop that fight or flight? And so when I sit that little girl down with that little boy and she's whooping him on a chessboard, he's not looking at her boop-de-boop anymore. He's seeing her as a real person with a real mind and a real intellect. And
That's
she,
true.
guess what? These are real. She transforms because now she sees herself. Hey, I don't have to make it tighter and shorter and thinner to get his attention. I can get his attention with this, not with this, because this is fleeting and this will get you pregnant and lead to your abortion. Okay? So stop using this as a way to get powerful, man. Use your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Deacon Christopher, Brass mom says, when I was struggling with algebra, I told my dad that I thought I was useless because I wasn't going to need it when I graduated. He said that I wasn't useless because I was learning how to learn. And I wanted to bring that up because I thought about your program. I remember, I think I was like 7th or 8th grade. I remember my aunt told me that, oh, you're never gonna be nothing. And I remember, you're not going anywhere. You're never gonna be nothing. And I remember for the rest of my life, for many years, maybe even still today, that motivated me. Like her saying that that's what really motivated me to go to college. I probably could have stayed in war and worked at a factory or something like that, like everybody else did. But that motivated me. And so I think we all have different things that motivates us. Like, what's that thing you can look back on your life and say, man, that was when that person said that, or when this happened. I think the same thing happens with your program, giving these children confidence of, man, maybe getting that first checkmate, or just having success on a chessboard. I think kids need confidence to move forward.
Well, the one story I'll say in Petaluma that was at Valley Vista, that was the school we taught 6th, 5th, and 4th. They were having a bridge event to kind of link, and this is what's happening right now with this game, is linking young people with seniors and going into senior homes and teaching and playing and just relationship. Calvin, mother crying, I'm sitting there at the bridge playing. It was a little event. I need to tell you, Mr. Majors, how much you've done for, okay, great. Oh, thank you. And then she's crying, and I'm, okay, I got to be present, I'm playing with this kid. I go, well, what do you? And so I kind of turned to her. I had to be present. I had to turn my face to her, right? Not away and not just my hand up in her face. I said, well, what do you mean? He was bullied. He has the blue-green hair. Dad's in the military in Texas. And she was but you taught him chess. I said, well, did he ever play before? Because I'm just teaching chess, right? And this is the one, but God touched me in this one, because now you're not just teaching, Chris. You got to be more connected. He picked up a book and read it, read another one, and read another one. Now he's at Mechanics Institute in San Francisco.
Wow.
He won his first tournament, and he's on his way. And but see, now here's the thing, because you can go nuts on this. It's a gateway. It ain't for real, right? It's a gateway. 1 out of 100 million are going to be great, the greatest of the greats.
Yeah.
But I said to him, then this is my opportunity. I said, now, Calvin, I hope you realize now that no matter what anybody tells you about you, you know who you are. And if you put the time and energy and effort into anything you do, you're going to be successful, because all it takes is time. And that's the piece about frustration connected to time. I don't want to lose on this piece. To use them to go through the pawn, the movement of the pieces and their value. The movement of their pieces and the value of them leads you into making better decisions. Are you going to lose your knight for a pawn, 3 points for 1, 5 for 3, 9 for? No. And you know how many people, David, this is life. Oh, I never played. I didn't care about it. I never knew how much the pieces are worth. Priest told me this. I was presenting to a bunch of priests. A little smart aleck priest in the back, right? Running his mouth, I always played chess and I didn't care what the value of the pieces were. We didn't care. I said, then you weren't playing chess. You weren't thinking. You're just moving pieces, brother.
You're playing checkers. Yeah. You can't get to a point. I mean, if someone's playing chess for a while, I mean, you can reasonably say, okay, I'm going to make a sacrifice for my knight for this pawn. But I think that's the analogy of the Christian journey, right? I mean, you have to being able to get to the point where you understand the value of sacrifice, knowing what sacrifices to make. You just don't start off your Christian journey, sacrificing your knight for a pawn. You have to get there. You have to see the value of that, and that's part of the Christian journey, right?
I believe it is. I know it's been part of my journey. I didn't know what sacrifice was. Yeah. I felt I was sacrificing, if I let the guys, I just didn't understand. I felt that it's like anything else, that my job in this world was to get as much as I could get while I could get it without hurting anybody if I can do it. And now,
right. That's about probably 90% of people.
Well, I want to get as much as I can get, as much as I can get it while I'm not hurting people. So if I can do that, then I'm going to be successful, man. If I can win, if I can do, I have that drive in my life. But now I still have a drive in my life. I like this, the work that we do. I enjoy the work we do. We went to West Africa and we were up there in a village with little girls learning how to sew. We bought a $500 sewing machine and they're making dresses. So you start to find through this medium entrepreneurship, innovation, right? Those are the things that I love. I'm part of the Rotary E-Club Silicon Valley, and that's part of our moniker: innovation, education, entrepreneurship. And I think those are the seeds that sustain people. You look at a Gavin Newsom. Why won't he? He's got everything he wants. He's come from the richest of the rich.
Yeah.
He's supported by the richest of the rich.
Yeah.
To crush a guy like me, right? But why wouldn't he say that? And you know what? He would be a king if he came out and said, you know what? The woman's body is precious. And it's the greatest thing in the world. Right. We all come from a mother. This guy could get up there and wax it poetically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's got the smooth, the hair, the cool.
Right. He has attractive. His wife is attractive. I mean, he could say her womb has value. I mean, he could do the whole thing.
What if Gavin Newsom got up? What if Gavin Newsom got on a press conference and said, the holiest place in the world is the tabernacle. The second holiest place is a woman's womb. Your brother, our brother, Deacon Harold, right?
Yeah.
God bless Deacon Harold. I heard him, man. He came and spoke to us.
Yeah.
That's where I got that. I got to give him credit. That's where I got the holiest place in the world is a woman's womb.
Yeah, our mother taught us that.
And then the room went silent, and he said, "Why?" Because it gives life.
Right.
Deacon Harold Shevers, powerful brother, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's a powerful point. I mean, not only does the womb give life, it gave us the life. All right, the way, the life, the truth, Jesus Christ himself. Nancy L says, my grandson is loving chess. What's the best way for me, the grandma, to learn so I can play chess? Fan. What would you say to that, Deacon?
Well, I will send you the link and we'll send it to Nancy. I'll send her my training link, because what I do is I leave it for the schools so that each child, so you parents, so it's a training piece by piece, how the pieces move and capture. It's a curriculum. Chess is a curriculum. Most people they want to make you look, like not as smart as them. They throw 36 pieces on the board, 32 pieces on the board, and you're like, but I start out with the pawns. 45 minutes of playing with the pawn game. First one to get a pawn to the other side of the board. And that's it. And then next week we come back, we talk about the queen, and the kids actually capture with the pawns and the rooks and the bishops and the knight. Then we start talking about check and checkmate. But we'll take Nancy L. Is that who that was, Nancy L?
Yeah, Nancy L.
I will send you the link and you can forward that to her, or she can send you, if she can give you her email, I'll send you the link for the training manual. And she can go piece by piece with her grandson to make sure he knows what's going on. And now we really have a ministry in her home, because each child I ask, can you go home and teach 3 people this game?
Wow.
Because now, and that's what I start out my first opening speech. All of you are me. You're not me now, but at the end of 6 weeks, you're all going to be chess teachers and chess trainers. You'll be able to go out and spread this message of chess to anybody you want. And I know in Africa, they love chess. I'll bring 20 chess boards to a school of 400 kids, and I'll have 40 in the room, one on each side, and I'll have 100 looking in the door. In Gulu, that was in Gulu, right on the border there is some Gulu. That was a beautiful moment. They had kids looking in the window, hundreds, wanting to get in there. And this is where you talk about the language of the Bible is there: sacrifice, patience, humility, perseverance. The biggest one, though, is the thirsting for the knowledge. Is Gavin Newsom really thirsting for more knowledge, or is he just manipulating his talent that God gave him to marginalize and separate people so he can go up vertically?
Yeah.
He has lost the fact that our relationship is not just vertical. It's horizontal.
Yeah, that's powerful right there. If you recognize that it's horizontal, I mean, you don't kill those who were created just like you. That's
so you can go up.
Yeah.
Simply because, now remember, again, 5% of pro-life, pro-choice. If I ask anybody, what's your big issue? It's money, it's gas, it's food, it's education. He's talking abortion because you have a lot of people out there that want to kill people that look like us.
Yeah, that's amazing that there's so much money out there
that are willing to pay
people
for this.
Fund his whole campaign on this 5% issue just because they're
Margaret Sanger. They know the reality. Hey, when you go to Africa, bro, and I'm sitting there in Belgium airport, that was my big aha. Those moments you talked about with your mother or your grandmother about telling you, hey, you ain't gonna. I turned around and I looked back there and I saw these Africans coming from Africa into Belgium, flying to France and Italy, Germany, speaking German, French, Italian. You're there, man. You see it every day.
Yeah,
African American, not even African American, Germans, African Germans, speaking German, French, English. And we're in America here. Though I believe, and I've been saying this for 20 years, what they're doing now is displacing us. They're they're slowly displacing the American black for the African.
Yeah, I think that's true.
We know that.
I think that's true.
Slowly but surely, the inner cities are going to be repopulated with progressive, wealthy people that are going to pay $800,000 for 600 square foot of property.
Yeah, it happened to Harlem. It could happen anywhere.
Where you go.
And Deacon, how can I know you got to go? You got to go to mass here. Thanks for spending so much time with us, and make sure you come back. But before we leave, can you let us know how people can get a hold of you to support your chess mission and things that you're doing?
Well, if anybody wanted to help support what we do, and it's really about buying chessboards and training the schools, they can communicate with it, info@novadochessclub.org. That's probably the best way. Or that would be our novadochessclub.org is our website.
You said Nevada, like the state Nevada?
No, N-O-V-A-T-O.
Oh, Novato. Okay.
Novato Chess Club. Or they can Google Christopher Major and hopefully some of that stuff will come up. But, I take what I need to go to Africa. But our big goal here, David, in some of our inner city schools, God, you know how much money, what you could do with $5,000, $10,000 in a school with chess? Take one school, target it for 3 years. And I guarantee you, from an elementary to middle, when they start running in there, they're thinkers. They value the reality of thinking more than the reality of the passion.
Yeah.
And I think that is what I would want to leave people, that the passion is real. And sometimes when things happen, you just jump in there. But we want to get kids to breathe a little bit and slow down and say, what are the critical thinking points and what are the consequences of my actions? It's easy to talk about, but until you sit a kid down with this fast-paced video, soccer, run, we've created a world, I believe, that is not safe for children because we're asking them to be something they're not ready to be. We're not allowing them to grow in their faith at a consistent, marginal, at a time in a way that we can grow consistently. We're marginalizing them early in life by saying that this is what success is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Deacon. Everyone's loving you being here. Make sure you come back, and we're all gonna. If you're listening to the show live or listening to record, make sure you pray for Deacon Christopher Major.
Thank you.
He's a wonderful deacon out there in Archdiocese of San Francisco. His bishop is Archbishop Salvatore Corleone. Make sure you pray for him, his mission and his ministry and his vocation. And thank you so much. You're my friend, and I look forward to talking to you some more in the future. Okay, Deacon.
God bless you, David, and thank you for your work. You're leading the band for all of us. You are truly an apostle, and we're following you. Amen.
Oh, get out of here.
We are, man. God dang it, I love you, man. You're David Gray.
Thanks, Deacon.
Have a great day, brother.